I love having money because of what money can get me, right? I love having money because I don't love feeling powerless. Nobody wants to feel powerless. I love money because it saves me time. It brings me options. I used to believe that money was so hard to get, but now I think money is quite literally the easiest thing you can get. The reason why I think this way is because I know what it's like to not have a lot, and I know what it's like to be comfortable, and I know what it's like to have to work so hard for money, and I also know what it's like to not work hard for money. And the only thing that separates all these things is the beliefs beneath them. When I was growing up, they always used to tell us that, like, oh, anybody who has a lot of money, they're definitely doing something bad, they're definitely doing something wrong, they're definitely doing something this. But it's like, why is everybody so obsessed with suffering? I'm so sorry. One thing I've noticed about wealthy individuals is they do not believe in being or suffering. They don't feel like they need to suffer for stuff. And I can speak on this because when I was younger, right, my dad was literally the definition of made it out the mud, had no handouts, made it on his own. He literally changed our situation when we were 6 years old, right? And we moved into a nicer house, blah, 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 blah. But by the time we moved to the UK, it meant that the currency was different. So it felt like we went from being super middle class to being just like everybody else, being another immigrant family, living in survival mode, always having to double check the prices of things, always making sure that we're overly budgeting if we wanted something, or no, we can't afford it. Then I got into this mindset of, oh my gosh, I need to work so hard for money. I need to work. Regardless of what it was, I was just willing to take on so much work. And I realized something, right? Whenever I overstress myself for money, it didn't make that much of a difference, because somehow that money would magically always leave my hands. It never ever stayed in my hands. I do not know why, because I did not align myself or my character with the individual who has money. Things that I've noticed about people who make a lot of money versus people who are poor, right? The first thing that I've noticed about people who are poor is that they constantly live in lack. They never believe that they can do anything. They are constantly victims. They don't understand that life is not happening to them, but life is happening for them. However, wealthy individuals or people who make or earn a lot of money, I've noticed that they always think life is happening for them, even when shit is hitting the fan, bro. They genuinely believe that, oh, my stock went bad. Oh, my business stock got missing. Oh, my manufacturer fucked up the design. Do you know what they'll say? They'll say some crazy shit like, oh, do you know what? It's probably because it's helping me become a better entrepreneur and da 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 da. But a poor person or like a poverty-minded person would be like, oh my gosh, fuck the government. They hate us. They just don't want to see us do well. They hate immigrants in this country. It's always something along those lines. There's zero accountability. There's zero room for improvement. They just sort of stay at that I am defeated mindset. And the emotions that they attach to that happening, I realized that they keep on attracting things like that. When I was constantly liking memes about being broke, all my conversations with people would be, ha ha ha, oh my gosh, we're so broke, we can't afford it, da 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 da. I would make money, but the money would never stay. Why would the money stay when subconsciously I believe that I was supposed to suffer for money? And when you believe you're supposed to suffer for money, right, subconsciously you avoid money because money means stress to you. So it's like you're stressing yourself to make more money, but you're also then attracting stressful situations for the money to be taken away from you. Do you know what I mean? But that's a big one that I observed, the mindset difference. Another thing that I noticed about poor people, a lot of poor people were obsessed with looking better than their financial situation. However, when I went around a lot of rich people, I realized that a lot of them had money in assets. You can meet someone who's a millionaire, but their money is not in the bank account. Their money is always tied up in something like stocks, whiskey, property, businesses. Girl, it's just always something, a fund, a stock. They just don't stand keeping money in material things. And I'm not saying that there's not rich people who buy cars, and that's what you can see. You can't see the investments because they're not showing you the portfolios. But I've just noticed generally wealthier people tend to keep money in circulation in different assets, whereas poor people, money for them is just a tool to get by. Money for them is not something they could use to expand, improve their lifestyle. When they want to start businesses, they're always cheap with their ideas as well. They don't ever believe that this business could become something so reputable. So you're trying to start a business and you're saying you want customers, but you're literally, I don't know, I don't want to say you're just being cheap about it, but you're being cheap about it. You're being cheap about the customer experience, your packaging, your communication. It's just an observation that I've made. And as somebody who was broke before and is working her way to financial freedom now, because I'm not yet there, but I am there in my mind. But for me, I just couldn't justify the expense. And I just asked myself, right? I wrote one Substack article on my old laptop. After I dropped that article, I went and bought the new laptop. I was like, why am I holding myself back from buying this laptop? Because I know how much this laptop could help me as a creator, as an entrepreneur. It then clicked. It's because I don't take my craft seriously enough to invest in it. Because when you invest in something, you've already paid emotional attention to it. You're now investing your emotion. You've put your energy towards that thing, right? And I realized it's because I don't see my dreams as a priority. It's because I see my dreams as an aftermath, but I see survival as the priority. So it makes sense if you're trying to escape survival mode, but survival is your priority. How are you going to escape survival mode? Do you know what I mean? Another thing that I noticed about wealthy individuals is that they understand relaxation and meditation. Quite literally almost every single wealthy person I've met, especially if they're a wealthy person who I would want to emulate or be like, they have always had some sort of ritual where they just call their energy back to themselves and really think deeply about what they want. Whereas poor people, the broke people that I've been around, they are always running around. They believe the more I hustle, the busier I am, the more I fill my calendar up with unnecessary bullshit, the more productive I feel. And another thing I noticed about broke people is that they get an ego boost out of doing difficult things. That's why you often hear people be like, oh, it took me 43 years, but I finally cracked the code and I hit my first $1 million revenue ceiling after 43 years in business. And then when somebody else says, oh, I made 1 million in a month or in a year, they're like, there's no way you're making that. They see struggle and suffer as an honor and something that to brag about. They see it as a talking point. They see it as a rite of passage, whereas wealthy people don't see suffering as a rite of passage. Anything becomes too stressful, they delegate it. Anything becomes not worth the mental stress, they pay somebody else to do it. Because they understand the importance of capacity. They understand that everything stems from the mind. Every single thing you see in reality, me right now, me standing here making this video, me 40 kg down, me deciding to change my self-concept, my identity, and become somebody who I've always wanted to be, and also help others along the way. You are seeing all this shit right now because it came from my mind. The idea to buy this bed and change it from a brown bed because I realized I really like the color white and cream and ivory, it came from my mind. The decision to buy this curtain, it came from my mind, right? The decision to start getting my hair and nails done a specific way that I love, it all came from my mind. But think about it on the flip side. If I didn't believe in myself enough to even believe in my dreams enough to even get a camera, to get lights, to get that, it stems from my mind. So that's exactly what I'm saying. We're all experiencing the same problems, but rich people and poor people see things completely differently. Poor people always see life happening to them and they never see a way forward. They constantly remain in victim mode. Rich people always see things happening for them. And even if you don't even like the word rich, that's another thing as well. A lot of poor people hate the word rich. They hate when you talk about money. Oh my God. They hate when you talk about money. They hate when you talk about how ambitious you are. They hate when you talk about all the things that you want to do. They hate when you talk about your plans. They always have something limiting to say. But I have never ever been around a rich or ambitious person and I'm like, oh my gosh, girl, I really want to put like £2,000 in this stock. And they'll be like, oh my God, that's a waste of money. Why not just save it in your bank account? What if it drops? No, they don't believe that. Every single time an ambitious person meets me because they see what I'm doing, they're always so supportive. They're always so encouraging. It's always the dusty broke people. And I'm sorry to say, as a former dusty broke person, right, that believe they have something to lose. Rich people don't see failure or losing anything as a loss. They understand that it's an illusion. You're never truly losing as long as you're learning. The only thing you're losing is time when you're ruminating, thinking that everything is always going to pan out for the worse. Anyways, enough is enough. I'm so glad we got to the end of this video. Comment, subscribe if you want to see more, or don't. If you want to add me on Instagram or socials, go ahead. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If any of my videos ever help you or shift your mind at all, please DM me, comment down below. I'm going to start reading you guys' comments because I just feel like, you know what, might as well, girl. Anyways, have a lovely day. No bars. So much work. Why is everybody so addicted to why is somebody, well, you're also then attracting